Hey, Mike, we're back. We're back this week. We go over week. Oh my God, I didn't even have the week done. Week 11, week 11 of the Premier League season, and Mike has a lot of North London derby talks and thoughts and whatever. I'll just want to run through the scores really fast, just so we have them. Burnley drew with Everton. City beat Fulham. Man United over West Ham. Chelsea over Leeds. That was a big win for them. Palace with Zaha score 5 away at West Brom. Leicester defeat my poor Sheffield United, who are probably going down. The aforementioned, we'll end with Liverpool. Liverpool 4, Wolves 0. What the fuck? And then this Monday, my boys, Brighton 1, Southampton 2. But we go into the North London derby with Tottenham 2, Arsenal 0, and one club is in crisis. And another one is top of the league, is we're getting ready to sing we're going to win the league. So, Mike, tell us how you...
It's a very unnerving feeling. It feels great. And if you would have told me that you'd get 7 of 9 points from City, Chelsea, and Arsenal and allow 0 goals after giving up 3 goals in the last, 44 seconds to West Ham.
Right, but that was a fluke.
It was a fluke, but it was a very Tottenham-y fluke, right?
Yeah.
It was a very Spursy fluke. I got to tell you that it's a weird feeling because still in the midst of those 3 games, you drop points in Europa League, right? They're still the same fucking team. Yeah. But man, do they show up for the big occasion now? And you have to say it, right? I mean, it's pretty clear, what the difference is this past calendar year, almost little over 365 days since Jose Mourinho was appointed manager of Tottenham Hotspur.
Jose Mourinho.
I don't like that I'm drinking the Kool-Aid and going back for seconds and thirds, but I am. Here I am. I mean, how can you not?
This is Mourinho ball. He's got it. It's going. It's hard. It's fighting. And I thought, and I'm going to lean into your thing. Yeah, they scored 2 goals, but Arsenal were shit on them. They were stupid. And I think Mourinho would have been happy with the draw. If Arsenal hadn't made those mistakes, Tottenham wouldn't have changed how they played.
I think he went into the game knowing full well that they were going to, right?
That they were going to fuck up because they
were going to be a catastrophe, right?
Yeah. I mean, the second goal was where Partey was just gone.
Well, so Partey...
No, he did. Anyway, let's just run through it, right? So Tottenham set up pretty strong in their strongest lineup. Bergwijn, Son, Kane. You've got not Ndombele, but Lo Celso.
Well, and so let me spend a minute on that because when the lineup came out, I was a little concerned. Because what happens with Tanguy Ndombele, and he played, again, we had the fucking Europa League in Austria, wherever we were on Thursday.
Played the whole game, right?
Played most, if not the whole game. I can't remember exactly, but it was about 80 minutes.
Yeah, but he rotated him. That's all.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that because the lineup comes out and the news breaks that Ndombele said he can't go. Now,
don't say you can't go.
That's not what you do when you're facing Arsenal at home, right? Listen, if the doctor says, hey, he can't go, fucking hey, I get it. There's 11 games between now and Christmas, it feels like. That's okay. But if the doctor says, if you think you can go, you can go. And fully knowing he's only going to give you at least, at minimum, a half, at most 70 minutes, right? He's not – Lo Celso's coming off the bench for you on 60 minutes, most likely.
The thing that's weird is that spot on the field right now, that 10 spot, it's not that important.
Because we've got Kane doing it, essentially, right? But
right.
Where
it's a running role, right.
Right. Ndombele sort of becomes a double 8, right?
Yeah.
Alongside, he is just.
But anyway, but most of the defense are the same. Dyer, Alderweireld comes back. Reguilon, Aurier looked incredible. I mean, that was the best. That was the best.
Defend.
That was the best game I've seen. No, let's be clear. Tottenham defended a lot.
I know, but what I'm
that's
saying
all they
is
did.
You didn't have to have Aurier be that dramatic in and
around.
No,
he was not alone, and it wasn't on the break. Right? Mm-hmm. Bergwijn and Son. But the first goal was incredible. I mean, as much as is a mistake by Arsenal, because Bellerin got sucked into the ball, they covered it really well on NBC. and, Son takes off. That finish is just interplanetary.
Was just talking to a friend of mine and also a Tottenham supporter. I think that's the third best goal Tottenham has ever scored in the North London derby. Third best.
And the other thing is, like, as a City supporter, that's Son's goal. Like, it was further than normal, but that's the one he scores.
Right. And I think one important tactical decision, right, including Sonny, was you saw him against City and you saw him against Chelsea playing on the right.
Yeah.
You had Bergwijn coming in on the left. And I was saying when the lineup came out, I was very skeptical because I really wanted Son to move back to the left. I actually said it on our Twitter account.
Yeah.
And I was not so sure. Very early on, we saw that I read the lineup incorrectly, and they had moved Bergwijn to the right wing, and Sonny has that ability to go on the left. Now, it's important because not only can he walk onto the inside and do something like that, but he can do that because you have to respect his outside foot as well.
He's awesome.
He's great on his left foot and the near post.
Yeah,
right.
He's awesome.
So that's kind of where he's a dual threat. And on the right, he doesn't really have that ability to cut in on his left like that. So, so that's kind of where he's excelled the most on the left side. Mourinho recognized that. He moved in there. So again, that's another masterclass by Jose to be able to pick that out.
But it was, and then the Kane goal just before the half, same goal basically. I mean, the same break, the same. Just Lo Celso carried turnover. Partey assumes that he can go off, but the break is so fast that he thinks his team has the ball and they don't.
Well, yes. And so I forget exactly who it is that gives the ball to Lo Celso, but I think it was Højbjerg.
It probably is. He wins all the balls.
Right. He wins the ball back, and Arsenal's caught out for two reasons.
Gone.
A, they were caught in a counterattack, but B, like you mentioned, Partey has already walked off the field. Now, some background on that, okay?
Right. It was a 4-on-2.
Yes, but some background really importantly on Partey. He was hurt
already, yeah.
Okay. And unlike Ndombele, Partey went out there today because frankly, he's the only guy with two legs in Arsenal's midfield who doesn't suck balls.
Well, they could have tried to play. They could have played El Neni instead of Xhaka and just went full defense.
Xhaka is just horrible, by the way.
He sucks.
All he does is give away cheap fouls. In fact, there was a time in this game where Gio Lo Celso had a yellow card and Xhaka didn't, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Yeah. So let's just talk Arsenal stuff, right? They had the ball, they created nothing. I mean, one header by Lacazette in a 10, which doesn't work. Aubameyang still looks lost.
Do you know who had the least amount of touches in the entire game?
I'm sure it was Aubameyang.
Aubameyang.
He had one-on-one with Alderweireld, then Alderweireld owned him. He had a header that he kicked over the bar, and that was it. Like, I don't know what Arteta is saying. It sounds very Pep-ish, which is, we're fine. We'll take the space on the wings. There were moments, I thought, sometimes on Tierney's side, between Tierney and Saka, that they were doing stuff, and Aurier and Sissoko got out there and made a difference. But the thing that was interesting was Aurier and Sissoko were out there. There was never a center back out there. Mm-hmm. They just pressed out there.
Well, and that's kind of the point why you got Sissoko right in that lineup, where you've got Aurier doing whatever he wants, essentially, because he knows that Sissoko's got his back. The other thing is that now when Aurier gets caught out, you don't pull Alderweireld over, right? When Aurier gets caught out, Sissoko's there. So
you know what I think? You know what I think? And I think that I swear to God, Mourinho's this smart. I think he puts Sissoko with Aurier because they can speak French.
That's possible. I think it's because he knows one actually can play with the ball and one is a horse and can't actually.
Right.
So,
but that was good over there, and there was a lot of dropping back. I mean, Kane was, but I thought, like, from a defense perspective, this is what we talked about last week. Spurs control games without the ball. It's so fucking weird and not really talked about. They're as good as controlling games without the ball as, like, City are with the ball.
Yeah.
Right? And it's anathema. You're just like, well, you can't do that. They do it. It's fucking weird. They want to have the ball in their half and defend. But in control, right? Like, Sissoko and Højbjerg were everywhere. Højbjerg is a fucking animal. Like,
he's a diesel engine. I'm
what the
big
fuck
fan of him.
What?
The best part about Højbjerg, to be quite honest, is when we clear the ball off the line, or like somebody just gets rid of the ball, right?
Like,
yeah. He cheers like it's a goal. It's amazing. He's hilarious.
Yeah, but
he's
that's
a cartoon character.
But that's the best thing I remember is when you had Buffon, Bonucci, and Chiellini in Juve's defense, and they with under Allegri, when they cleared balls, they cheered like they were goals. Mm-hmm. That's what you want. You want your defense like that. Dyer and Alderweireld are now completely protected by this super bubble of Sissoko, Højbjerg, Reguilón. I don't give Aurier extra credit, but
that's fine.
And it was easy. The second half was boring. It was awful. I mean, it was not fun to watch.
Yeah, no, well, unless you were me.
Right. No, that's fine. But even Arsenal brought on offensive players. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah. And it was fun to watch them frustrate, right? Like, the more they tried, they were in quicksand for the entire second half.
Predictably, I mean, 70% possession, 11 shots, 2 on target. I already mentioned them. That was it. Mm-hmm. Blocks, nothing.
I think you mentioned it, but I think a major play in this game is the block by Alderweireld on Aubameyang, right? Because that was the one time that he wiggled loose, and it's probably the first time he's wiggled loose like that in a fucking month. And Alderweireld closed him down and blocked a very good shot that was very clearly on target, if not going in.
Yeah. So that's the North London derby. What does it mean? It means Spurs' narrative is now, can you win this thing? It looks like
it's too early. First of all,
not.
Let me be clear about something. It's too early. Liverpool is tied on points. Chelsea's 2 points back. And by the way,
you're in it.
Yes, we are. And by the way, poor United and City, who both have a game in hand. If they both win those games in hand, they're within 1 game of first place. So I don't want to fucking hear it.
But whatever the case is, like, in terms of cohesion, in terms of waging a campaign, in terms of a way to play, you have a team that has a way to play that, unless something goes wrong, like, invariably Kane goes down or something like that. If you're able to maintain this, or Højbjerg goes down or something like that, one of these big players goes down, it will go badly. But until then, what you have, your 11 playing the way it does, there's no reason you can't win, right? City and Liverpool have depth, have nous, have extra, but they're finding their way. Like, Liverpool are without Van Dijk, they're without this guy, they're without that, no problem. City are without David Silva, trying to find a new identity. All of a sudden, John Stones is back, which is totally fucking weird. But where do you want to go? I'm just looking at, Liverpool.
We have to talk about Liverpool Wolves because it doesn't make sense. Or maybe it does. And Wolves are just kind of bland this year.
Well, I think what happened was they were with them, and then the Connor Cody chest fuck up that Salah jumped in on. Listen, as much as they're injured, they have Salah, Firmino, and Mane. Yeah, those dudes are good.
Oh no, absolutely.
And they still have. Listen, Fabinho, Matip is strong. It's still a super duper fucking strong team. They have depth. It's next man up. They have the will. They have it. They've got it. They've got the thing. Now, granted, they're playing Nico Williams and Curtis Jones. Both guys, are 20 years old, and a rookie goalkeeper that Klopp is completely sodomizing with love. He loves that dude. He made a couple times. But there's still, Robertson is still the best right back in the world, right?
Alexander-Arnold is coming back, right? He played in this game.
He played. And he made an incredible pass for the last goal. That was just like, I forgot that guy's on the team.
Right, exactly. So but I think the story really here is that, okay, Liverpool keeps, the beat keeps marching on for them, but Wolves look shaky, man. They've taken some hits, both first in the transfer market, and now with the Jimenez going down. They're in a little bit of disarray.
I think that there's this the table will shake out and it will be what we expect. But that top 6 is going to be, I think it's going to be close, and it's going to be all season. And I think Liverpool are still the favorites by, they're still better than most of the teams in the league. They just are. But let's just keep going through the games because I want to keep that momentum going. My team won, but the important thing for City, they're moving. It's starting to look right.
That was a professional win, right? I mean,
right, they're popping
I don't know
it
if I
around.
texted you. I think it was one of the early games, but they scored early on. Sterling misses a chance, scores the second one, and I go, "Oh my God, it's going to be a 10-goal game." You know, like I thought they were going to kick the living shit out of them.
They get a weird penalty, and they hit the post. It was like, you know.
Yeah. But I mean, full marks to Fulham for not getting boat raced.
They played better in the second half, and City just controlled the game, and we're like, whatever. That goes on to West Ham, Man United. Holy shit. West Ham, you had this game. They were annihilating United, destroying them. Like,
and let me ask
the
you
entire
something.
internet was on like the all out thing. They did not play Fernandez. They did not play Greenwood. I mean, they didn't start Rashford. Second half, Van der Beek comes off. Greenwood comes off. Sorry, Cavani
Bruno
comes off, and then it's on. And they completely revert back to amazing.
Right. And so they had an excellent effort at Southampton last week by Cavani to really energize them.
Yep.
To honestly to steal all 3 points there. This was a tale of two halves, right? Completely, where United just completely threw them to the wind in the second half, put 3 past them.
But it was not till late. I mean, but like, listen, this is West Ham United, a team that sits deep. They had 19 shots, 6 on target. Like, they were killing United, like, badly.
And let's talk about 2 things really quickly with Man United. First and foremost, they are the most consistent team in the Premier League since January, which is kind of mind-boggling if you think about it.
Consistent how? What do you mean?
The most points in the table since January.
Right, but they're not consistent from game to game, from half to half.
I understand. But that says something. Oh, I don't know. That Bruno fella showed up right around.
Right. They have the most points, but they won 9 in a row after the break, and then they sputtered down the stretch.
Yeah, no, I know.
He was playing Fernandez every minute of every game, always.
And that's why he benched him on this, what was it, Saturday?
And they have to play Leipzig tomorrow.
Exactly. He had an eye on Leipzig, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But he had an eye on Leipzig, and he was like, well, I can't really run him into the ground with 90 and 90, but he gave him 45. You bet your ass Bruno's going 90 tomorrow. And the other big thing, the other actual huge news item of the day, I don't know if you saw this, Paul Pogba's agent came out and said he can leave. He's going to leave.
So what?
First of all, yeah, fuck him. But, like, it's not because he didn't, like, okay, if you look at Giroud at Chelsea, right, and we talked about this on Thursday.
Legend.
He comes back. He goes, hey, I think I should be fucking playing. He comes back, he plays, and he puts in goals for fun.
Yeah.
Whereas
Pogba had an amazing goal in this game.
No, he did, and that was a fucking laser beam. So you sort of think that everything's going to be kind of okay, right? Because it's Bruno to Pogba. It's an absolute top-ins laser beam. And they go on and win the game. And Mino Raiola comes out and goes, you know what? Fuck Man United. Like, what? I don't understand. So the real question I have is I don't really care who wins tomorrow. I want to just see the lineup card between Leipzig and Man United. I want to see if Pogba's even on the bench.
They're going to go McTominay.
They should.
Yeah, they're going to go McTominay and play defensive because Leipzig like to play with the ball. They basically play like Chelsea. And they'll wait for mistakes because it's a young team. And they'll try and win on the break. Especially away.
And a draw gets them through, right?
Yeah. If they sit back, they'll get killed. They have to try and score.
Yeah.
And speaking of my favorite team, my poor Leeds, they really just got stomped.
They weren't up to speed.
They got killed. They basically, the first 15 minutes, they kind of had something going on. Bamford scored early, and Leeds were up 1-0. And then
they hit the post.
Yeah, and they hit the post. But, man, Chelsea really laid the smackdown. 23 shots, 11 on target. Leeds just got out-leaded. Like, they didn't let the ferocity of Leeds running and man-to-man coverage get at them. And, Werner somehow defied physics and missed a goal when he was standing in it somehow. Twice.
He'll never, ever do that again in his life.
And then the first Giroud goal was so good. That front post run that he does is just, it's fucking magic. He just does
it over
and over.
And a really good cross from Reece James too, who's an underrated right back.
He's 20. He's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Zuma with the header, another goal, and then our Lord and Savior, Christian Pulisic comes in with the late goal to really.
That's right, he did the third one.
But this was a poor This was a poor Leeds performance. And when Leeds are bad, they get beat bad.
Yeah. Well, the way I think of it, right? Like, if you take the jerseys off and you just kind of watch the type of game that was happening in front of you, when Robertson and Alexander-Arnold were just going forward and forward and forward against Aston Villa, not caring how many times they got in past them and scoring, that's sort of what Leeds was doing today, or this game. They didn't care. I've never seen a team, aside from, again, that Liverpool 7-2 performance, not give a shit about defending at all. Right? They're like, nope, the ball. They have the ball.
The other thing is they playing man-to-man. And if your guy gets beat, he's gone. Right? He's just like
exactly. But the thing is that it wasn't in their Chelsea final third that this was happening. It was in the heart of the midfield.
Yeah.
And it was just the man was away. So yeah.
Let's go to our favorite teams. There's a bunch of our favorites here. We've got Sheffield United, Leicester City, and then Brighton and Southampton.
Probably the two games of the weekend, by the way.
Sheffield is in trouble.
That hurt. That made me sad.
Just sad. Wilder banging his feet on the ground. Just a 90th minute goal by Jamie Vardy. The defender Basham or O'Connor, or whoever the fuck it was, released. Just bring the fucking guy down.
Jack Egan.
Take him down.
What are you doing?
Right. I mean, it's in the moment. You don't want to do it. He would have gotten sent off, and it would have been a penalty.
100%.
Just do it.
No,
but he's the last man.
I know. It's 100% a red card. What I'm saying is he could have done it right away when he was still close to Vardy. He's 25 yards from goal.
Yeah,
right?
He should have just.
So you prevent that chance.
It's in the moment, like, right? He probably thinks.
I know.
But oh god, that was like, and then the karate kick on the fucking post, and then the other piece is that Vardy is a Sheffield Wednesday fan, and he's like, "Fuck you." He's such a scum fuck rat boy.
You know what? He's awesome. So good at it, though. He's so good at it.
Oh god, and he couldn't. I don't think he could play. Like, if he was on a big club, he wouldn't fit in. You know?
No.
He kind of needs to be on a shit, weird team.
Well, let's be very clear about something. After the season they won the title, he could have gone anywhere he wanted.
He was going to go to Arsenal. They had it on the table, $45 million. He did not go.
Yeah. So
could you imagine if they had him with Sanchez and Ozil in that late Wenger period?
That wouldn't have been fun at all.
That would have been good.
Wenger still would be there.
I know. Yeah, that's the sort of thing. But Wenger is the king of like, I could have got. Shut up.
Yeah.
If you could have got him, get him. Shut up. But anyway, Sheffield have the lowest points total in history. No team with this many points after this many games has ever stayed up. And I'm going to be sad because Sheffield United, they have a good English coach, and they needed everything to be right all the time. And without O'Connell, they can't play the way they like to play, or they become really predictable. They have an awesome logo. It literally has blades on it because I know it's the blades, but it's because they make kitchen knives, not.
If you figure, I know. You figure and I know 40 points is like that's the.
It's not going to be 40 this time.
It's not going to be 40, right? So even if you say, all right, 35 points,
they need to start winning. But I mean, they need to start winning. They're already 2 games. Like usually, if you're close, they need to win like 3 games in a row. That would really help them. But 3 games in a row would be massive. Like that game, losing to West Brom really fucking hurt them. They've already had like 3 games that they should have won or drew or something. Like for them, the draws matter. Like they need those draws.
Well, and the hard part for them is that it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah.
But right around the new year, you're right. You're going to lose to Southampton. You're going to lose to United. Maybe you get a point out of Brighton, but probably not. You're probably not going to get a point out of Everton.
Brighton has been they can't win games. They can.
I know, but maybe you get a point out of them. Maybe
they can beat Brighton. Brighton's beatable.
Honestly, and how far have they fallen? They could beat Everton. All right, like
they could definitely get a draw of Everton.
You could beat Burnley. You kind of have to beat Palace.
Who's man.
Hot right now.
Zaha came back. Boom, 5 goals.
Yeah,
this guy's awesome. I love
Newcastle, then Spurs and United again. So. Yeah, and then we're at the end of January, and it's like.
But then the last game of the day, Southampton-Brighton, there were 2 shade penalties. Our Lord and Savior James Ward-Prowse stuck his hand in the air randomly, and just like, okay, penalty. That was weird. I didn't really see his arm hit it, but
I was watching. No, it grazed it. One thing I thought about this was,
I think he was trying to say offsides or something.
No, he was just fucking jumping, right? People who are so quick to criticize defenders specifically this season, right? When you jump, where do your hands go?
Yeah,
they go down because you're trying to launch yourself up, and then they go up.
Yeah.
When you're about to fall, that's fucking gravity, right? So like, I have a hard time with somebody. His hand was extremely out of place and away
it was
from
bizarre.
his body. I understand.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
But the other thing, I think that there needs to be some kind of, I don't know if it's intent, but like,
I don't know,
like,
the way they've been doing it for 150 years, where a guy who's a referee decides in the moment of the game how it should go. Maybe that will work.
That might be an idea. Let's try that. But even in this,
crazy.
In this specific case, it hits his hand, it drops down. It was going to drop down, and he was going to be the first one to touch it.
I know. It doesn't matter. It's a penalty now.
I know. No, I know. But that's the thing that irked me about that. I'm like, it didn't affect the rate of play, right?
Yeah,
so
right. In the context, it didn't mean anything, right? But now
that's where my problem with the
it's all broken now. Then they had so I feel like Brighton were good early. Southampton were doing the thing that they do where they try and fuck you up early. They have a little bit of they really early in a game they'll kick. Like they fucked up United the week before. No, but it's German. It's Austrian. In this case, it's Austrian. Hasenhüttl had them have a little bit of fight. Then right at the near the break, so there was that penalty, the handball penalty. Gross puts it away. Vestergaard, of course, JWP. What a fucking what a cross from the corner. It literally drops onto Vestergaard's head, who's 13 feet away and 10 feet taller than everyone.
I was gonna say he's enormous, right? He's and just the Norse anger of that goal celebration.
It was really awesome.
I was aroused. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, those teams are just great. I was watching it with Lisa, my wife. She was just over the moon. Like she was so happy there were guys there, the fans cheering. But the second half petered out, and Brighton lost a little impetus. They're still not quite there. They had a weird formation. They played a defender in the midfield they played Basuma and Ben White together, which was weird. My Lord and Savior, Lewis Dunk, who should have been on Arsenal 3 years ago because he's fucking awesome. And why not have a guy who can clear balls? But yeah, they just didn't have it. And then Lamptey wasn't the star of the game. Former Spurs man, Mr. Walker Peters, was actually outplayed him. Yeah. And he drew a penalty that was I just wanted JWP on that corner right there. Yeah, I wanted to see him do it. But they gave a penalty. I mean, that's not a penalty.
No.
He wasn't in the box. Come on.
No.
So,
and that's kind of another thing where you have to give a penalty when there's a clear and obvious goal-scoring opportunity. Come on.
Yeah,
right? I feel like that's how you, and it transcends whichever sport we're talking about. Every rule needs a little bit of just come on. And if you have to say that, you need to reassess the rule, right? It's like,
yeah. So that's the week that was. We have Tottenham, top of the league on 24, ahead on goal difference, ahead of Liverpool, also on 24. Tottenham now, I believe, have the best defense in the league.
That's correct.
9 goals. There's no one even. City are closest.
Chelsea have 11.
City have 11.
So then City and Chelsea have 11.
Yeah. Then Chelsea on 22, Leicester on 21, Southampton on 20. One of these kids does not belong here. United and Man City bring up 6 and 7. West Ham, Everton, Wolves. Then the bottom 3 are Burnley, West Brom, and Sheffield. Those could stay that way. I feel like and Arsenal are in 15th.
15th place, which means, by the way, they are significantly closer right now to relegation, which is 7 points away from them. Then the top of the table, which, may I remind you, is Tottenham Hotspur, 11 points clear. So they are almost twice as close to the bottom as they are to the top right now. And let me tell you, they are happy days in North London right now.
Yeah, they're not good right now. But, I mean, I think, they'll find a way. I mean, they're not going to fire Arteta. They're not going to –
I don't think they're going to, but I said it, a week or two ago. The seat's getting hotter. Listen, he got absolutely dunked on by Mourinho. That's gonna warm the seat a little.
Yeah, but Mourinho gets to dunk on people. He dunked on Pep. He dunks on people.
I understand, but Arsenal will never, ever accept that result. So the seat is getting a little hot. I watched a lot. Trust me, a lot of Arsenal fan TV today. Okay. It was absolutely wonderful watching DT have an absolute coronary
aneurysm. He's like fighting with Don Robbie.
Yeah. Oh,
my favorite, of course, the most reasonable is Mo. Mo's a legend. I love that guy.
I hate all of them, but like, I actually love watching. I don't know what it is about watching DT combust. Like I love that. And listen, your boy Troops was. I don't know if you know this. He was hired by Barstool. He's in New York now.
Oh, good for him.
Well, fuck him. But like,
come on, it's cool.
No, fuck him. Okay, but he's in like the Barstool studios watching.
Oh, he moved to the U.S. He's here.
Yeah, he's in New York.
That's amazing.
And Big Cat, one of the main Barstool guys. I'm not a huge fan of them, but I know who that guy is. He walks in and right after the Kane goal, he goes, "Oh, hey, what's the score? Oh, yeah, 2-0. Geez, oh, that's tough. Well, at least it's not a big rival or anything, right? Like that's gonna be." He's just fucking giving him the shit, and it was awesome. It was really, really
blood.
Good. So,
you know what I mean? Blood, fam.
Yeah, he looks at the camera and goes, "Blood. What are your rules on hitting people here, bro?"
Blood, fam. Blood. He's not. The thing is, he's not gonna find. He's gonna go home because he's not gonna find people to give a shit. They're gonna be like, "What's wrong with you? Are you fucking insane?"
Like, well, the weird thing is, like, I bet he would go. Like, I mean, forgetting COVID for a second. Once everything starts to clear up, he would go to the Arsenal bar, which I know where it is. And then one of two things would happen. He'd either be welcomed or they'd be like, "You're fucking embarrassing. Get the fuck out of here."
No, he's a legend. They'd love him.
Oh, dude.
Come on. They love him. Listen, I'd kill to have City have something like Arsenal Fan TV. Kill.
Oh, no. I'd kill them if it was my
time. No.
I hate it.
You'd if Spurs had something as good as Arsenal Fan TV, come on. They're legends. It's fantastic.
You know, speaking of, and I'm surprised that something bad didn't happen.
That's so good.
I miss Claude, speaking of Arsenal Fan TV.
Oh, he got in trouble because he said some things.
Well, he said DVDs about Sonny the last time we beat them, right? So I was waiting to see who we got shit canned from Arsenal Fan TV this time, but I think they're all going to make it.
Yeah, he's just an old guy who's mentally ill, but on my YouTube feed, there was one that was 5 years old. It says, Ty gets punched in the face by West Ham fan. I did not click it, but I should.
Man. We'll put that on our Twitter account because I think everyone would love to see that.
Poor Ty. You don't want to see that fucking little cricket get punched in the face.
I don't. I kind of just want to like.
I think, by the way, I think every single one of those guys has been attacked by somebody.
100%, dude. And Ty's like a little baby boy. Like he can't do anything. Yeah. I do want to like the Chris Rock joke. Like I don't want to hit him, but I want to shake him.
Yeah.
I just want to grab him by the shoulders and shake the shit out of him.
Yeah. Well, listen, I have a lot of respect for the lead, Robbie. He's created an empire of a small personal empire of like, this is how it's done. This is what I can do. He records it, and he has his own show on Sky. I mean, he's like,
oh, absolutely. Let me be very clear. Robbie he created that empire, but also he's affable. He's not like a fucking cartoon character.
No,
in fact, his talent is identifying and sticking with those cartoon characters and letting them take him to the top.
Yeah,
the DPs,
but they've all blown up individually, right? They all have their own.
No, of course. But what's the common denominator is that Robbie hasn't had to do anything. He just sits there and watches these guys scream at him on a fucking microphone after a big loss, and up goes the results, right? That's why Arsenal fans hate him, because he does the best when Arsenal fucks up.
But that's not his fault.
It's not his fault, but they resent him for that. And I mean, like, I kind of get it. But
I hear you. I mean, listen, it would be amazing to have. I wish we had that culture. So I'm gonna go on a diatribe. I know you have to go eventually, but this fan stuff comes in soccer, in English specifically. They've had this stuff for years, like Xerox, Staples, and they had fanzines. It comes out of punk rock. Comes out of the 70s. This has been happening in English soccer, that YouTube was just an extension of it, right? They've always done this, right? They had people making magazines. When Sunday Comes, that's what that is. It's an actual fan magazine about football. Like, They had been doing self-publishing things like that for years. All these guys had been on early message boards, and it was just the next thing that they would become as big as, right? That YouTube gave them that opportunity. I think it's great. Like, I'm just pissed off that if we have it in our sports that they're not big, or because American sports are so covered, like we don't leave a stone unturned, that we don't need it or something.
No, I don't actually agree. I think that it's made its way into American sports, and I'll give you an example.
So? Okay. Yeah, because I don't know. Like, is there like a football channel of fans that do their game? Like, I wouldn't know
NFL.
Or what about
what I
Michigan?
can tell you is, what I can tell you is for the Yankees, right? John Boy.
There's a good one. Okay.
So he's the guy who actually blew the lid, no pun intended, off the whole Astros camp.
That I know, right? That I know. He did analytics of it. Yeah.
Right. And his famous thing is like, this is a thing that's happening on video right now, a breakdown, and he's like dubbing his voice over it. And
right, but the thing is, honestly, that guy's trying to get a job. Right?
Well, not even really, because what it started as when Aaron Boone did the whole like, my guys are fucking savages in the box, like that whole tirade.
Yeah.
There was a hot mic that picked most of it up. So he just broke down that clip, and that launched him to the moon, because that was insanely viral. And then he became like the guy who was like, hey, MLB, maybe pay attention to this. Like, he went through Astros footage.
But there's not somebody who captures like what it would have worked. Like, I think about my early days at Yankee Stadium. So this is mid 80s, early 90s, the dark times.
Sure.
Stump Merrill era Yankees.
Yeah.
And you'd go to the bleachers, and it was the same 50 people there every game, right? The crazy old lady, just all the songs were inappropriate, whatever. People throwing up, fighting, cocaine, everything. But had they been filming those people after every loss, that would have been something, right? But we don't have that, right? Like, there's no way you could film Yankee fans after every game. There's too many games.
And I'll bring it back from baseball now. NFL is the only parallel that would make sense. College football actually makes more sense.
Yeah.
But that turnover is so fat, right? Like, these kids they're in college or out of college. I don't mean the players. I mean the actual, like,
the fans, right?
You can't have a DT and a Claude at Tuscaloosa, even though they fucking exist and they do have season tickets. That shit's weird.
But that's the thing so that's another piece that makes it super duper interesting, and it's sad about our sports. All those fucking stadiums in England are in the middle of the city, almost all of them, or in a neighborhood, right? So
not two of them, not the two from the teams we're talking about.
Tottenham,
but Tottenham's in the Bronx, in the South Bronx of London,
right? Basically. But there's people that live there. It's near people's houses,
absolutely.
Right? It's in a neighborhood
within,
right? Right?
Yeah.
It's Wrigley.
Yes.
It's where it has been for 150 years. Basically.
Yes, that's correct.
Right? Or Chelsea. It's in the middle of that neighborhood, Chelsea. Or for instance, like QPR, it's underneath a fucking highway. Yeah. Right? Like, these stadiums are there. We had those stadiums in our cities. They disappeared, right?
And we got rid of them.
Yeah. Right. So they all are out in the sticks, and that's why, like, the West Ham thing sucks, because the Boleyn ground used to be in East London. Like, you'd go get out at the train station, and there's a stadium there, and you'd fight your way down Green Street.
Yeah.
Right. So
I get that. And then you also have teams that are they're active. Like, you're leaving the game, right? Like, you're getting out of there. The new Atlanta Braves stadium comes to mind, which, by the way, is their third stadium in the last 20 years. Like, what the fuck is that about?
Racism.
They built one, and then we're like, not great. And they built another one.
Because one of them was for the Olympics.
Yeah. And then fine. But it's not Atlanta. It's like Gwinnett or something. It's like 25 miles away.
Right. Because it's where the white people live.
Well, sure. But like, fine. But you don't get the problem that you find with that is, like you said, with West Ham, there's no juice. There's no culture. There's no bars around the stadium, because they can't survive, because unless there's a fucking home game, what the fuck are you doing there? Which somehow still makes sense.
Which is why Shea sucks. Never had any juice. I don't care, Met fans. You're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, had that stadium been in Flushing, like near downtown, like, these stadiums that we built in this country they're just sitting there. They're fucking weird. Anyway, that is our rant. We made it.
Let's go into one last thing.
Right. You want to talk Champions League?
Quick tangent. No. I want to talk about, after 8 months of artificial noise, how good it felt to have actual songs.
We should have talked about that right away. Where it is.
Yeah, we should have led with that off the top. But when the second goal went in at the new Tottenham Stadium, and you hear the roar, and then right before halftime, because it was basically the last kick of the ball before half, and they're coming off the field, and the fans are losing their fucking minds. And 1,300 in the south stand of the 2,000 that were allowed in, they sounded like 25 grand. It was sick.
Well, I think what really happens is that what you're finding out is there's really only 2,000 people singing.
Yeah, well, you know what? Until there's 60,000 people singing.
No. I understand that, right? But
generally, no, you're
general
right.
Noise, it's really not many people until there is. Until the whole state, like when Anfield does "You Never Walk Alone," that's
right. Everybody comes to do that one.
Yeah, I mean, even if I was there, I would fucking sing it. I don't give a shit.
I wouldn't. I hate them, but I'd be like, that's cool.
I would sing it. I wouldn't give a fuck.
And all the stadiums that had fans, I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and you had no idea how much you missed it. Essentially,
I mean, Anfield was so good. I mean, Jurgen Klopp, you fucking just his post-match interview, the guy's almost in tears because the fans are there. Like, how do you not love that guy? Fucking,
no, I get it.
I hate him. I hate that I like him.
He was made in a lab. You're not allowed to like him.
With his
but
teeth.
no, whose
teeth does he have? He killed someone and stole their fucking teeth.
And logistically, let me bring this point up for a second because I think that this is a take. I'm curious your thoughts on.
Yeah.
Tottenham just played Arsenal, right?
Yeah.
100% of the fans in the stadium were Tottenham fans. There were 0 Arsenal fans.
Correct.
Which means when we go to Arsenal, that should be the same.
Yes.
To some degree.
Yes.
Or if you manage it, right? So Tottenham City is a great example how you guys came to us and we had no fans. So when we go to the Etihad, we should have an extended, I don't mean 50%, we should have an extended away fans section. Again, assuming everything's fine by then, right? But instead of having the one section, maybe you get 2 or something like that. Just for 2 reasons. A, we lost 100% of that home gate.
I'm not giving you money. Fuck you.
No. Well, the fucking whole league is based on socialism. So what the fuck?
No, it's not. Not the Premier.
I know. It's our leagues. I know. But no. So that's kind of where, if you want to really genuinely allow some kind of reverting back to just recouping revenue.
Yeah, you could extend. Yeah, you should. The stadiums. If you want to recoup revenue, you just make it so that away fans just expand it. If you have extra seats, you're like, who wants them? And you make it cheap. Although cities apparently very cheap relative to Arsenal.
The other thing you could do, and you just actually, and then we cut down on travel as well. You give the home team 100% of the ground the entire year, and you have watch parties at the home stadiums.
Yeah,
that could work.
They should. Yeah,
they should do that, right? Because then
anything they can do. They're not creative.
They're not.
They'll be like, can we get a tractor in Singapore? No, you can't get a tractor in Singapore.
Isn't that Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds' new team?
Yeah, and that's Wrexham.
Yeah, but weren't they talking about the tractors?
I don't know. I think they might be called the Tractors.
No. If you watch their video where they're introducing, they just keep pitching this tractor company. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, they're like, go buy these tractors. Why are we talking about this? Because this is our main sponsor.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Pretty hilarious.
Yeah, now I have to look it up. I don't know who Wrexham's. I hardly know them. Oh, they have.
But yeah, I've been thinking a little bit about that ever since I heard that fans were going to be allowed back in. Like, how can you make this right for everybody involved? For all the teams, we played 11 games. For all the teams have had a 0-sum home date from that game.
The other problem is like the tiers in England, like City still don't have fans. Not that we have any fans.
No, I know. But and again, this is assuming hopefully in a month, maybe 2, where everything starts to calm down a little bit, he said, wishfully thinking.
Said that in April.
Yeah, I know. But
everyone's going to die by then.
Humor me for the sake of the argument, right? Like that's kind of, I think there should be some semblance of, and I'm the one person who's never in favor of any type of revenue sharing, but extenuating circumstances, right? So I kind of
they did approve that $250 million thing, $250 million.
Yeah,
the rest of the league anyway. I don't see who Wrexham's sponsor.
It doesn't matter.
It does. It matters to me. Now I want to know. We need to learn all about them. Oh, they've been scamming. Wrexham, by being virtue of winning the Welsh League Cup, have been playing in Europe for like 10 years.
Nice. Good for them.
Scam.
That sounds like the gang buys a team.
What I don't understand is, like, why not buy a weird fucking team in like a decent league? Like, I don't know. What's a big country? Austria, and just blow that team out of the water. Like the way they did with PSG. Like, how could you not make your team be awesome? Just what are the rules? Like, why can't you just I'm going to take Red Star Belgrade and put $4 billion into it and just take over all of Serbia?
I think this specifically, I'm not arguing that theory. I actually support it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think this specific example was this club was in peril. And
I know this one, but like there are teams that have won European Cups that are not big teams anymore, right? Like
right.
Steaua Bucharest. That's a name. Like people know who that team is. Red Star Belgrade. They're the last non-big league team to win. They won the fucking European Cup. They have the big ears. They're like, we have this. Fuck you. We're fucking Nazis. I mean, the other one, communists. But yeah, I just, and then, or like Nottingham Forest, although people do try and push them through the roof. Anyway, let's go, Mike. Bye.
Bye.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. This was a Crap Football, Crap Pundit production. We will return on Mondays and Thursdays for the Premier League season. We will talk about soccer and other things that interest us. Mike is crazy. Laurent is insane. That's why it works.